Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back in the video today, and today we're going to be talking about the Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets are proving everybody wrong. The Houston Rockets are now 5-3, and they've won 5 straight games. And to me, they've been the biggest surprise in the NBA so far. I mean, I'm not very surprised. As a Rockets fan, I thought that this team would be way better. I will say I'm surprised that this team has gone on a run like this to win 5 straight games. That is what surprises me. So I'm not necessarily surprised that this team has showed talent and showed growth and showed, way better basketball and way better leadership. That does not surprise me. I think these last 5 games has surprised me. I mean, I'm not saying I thought that the Rockets weren't capable of winning 5 straight games, and especially, I hate to say it, especially with some of those teams missing some key players, but which I think it doesn't. You see so many people talking about, oh, the Lakers were without Anthony Davis. The Kings were without De'Aaron Fox. The Pelicans were without C.J. McCollum, which that argument makes sense. But I hate when people argue about De'Aaron Fox or Anthony Davis being out in those games. Like the Lakers, Anthony Davis is out, and you just lost by 34 points or 35 points, whatever it was. It was 34, I think. But you just got crushed. I think at one point the Rockets were up by 35 or 36 in that ball game. What is Anthony Davis going to do for you at that point? I believe Anthony Davis was out there. I think the Rockets still would have won that game against the Sacramento Kings. No De'Aaron Fox. I mean, you beat them by 18 the first game. We're up by 20 at one point. The second game, you beat them by 25. At one point, you were up 40. De'Aaron Fox is a great part of their team. He runs their whole team, basically. He is their best player. But what is he going to do? I mean, that doesn't change. I don't think De'Aaron Fox really changes anything when at one point you're down 40 points and you lose by 25. But, I mean, like C.J. McCollum being out for the Pelicans last night and the Rockets' 104-101 win, that's a good argument because the Rockets only won by 3 points. You can argue that C.J. McCollum didn't play and that could have affected the Pelicans because the Rockets only won by 3 points in that ballgame. The Rockets didn't win by a gazillion. So, but right now, the Houston Rockets are playing great basketball. Jalen Green, Alperen Sengun, and Fred VanVleet are all playing great. And, that's not even it. So many other guys are playing great basketball on this team. Dillon Brooks, Jabari Smith Jr., and Jae'Sean Tate. And newly just got back, Tari Eason is playing great basketball, too. He had an off shooting night last night against the Pelicans, but he's, doing a great job rebounding. He is arguably the best rebounder on this team. He's averaging 9 rebounds per game so far and 6 points per game. Second-year player out of LSU, by the way. Jalen Green in his last 3 games has been terrific. Last night, 25 against the Lakers in only 21 minutes had 28 points, and against the Kings in only 23 minutes had I think it was only 26 minutes had 23 points. And so Jalen's averaging 20.3 points per game, over 4 rebounds per game. It's been terrific for the Rockets. While Alperen Sengun has been probably their overall best player, averaging 19 points per game, 8 rebounds per game, 8.3 rebounds per game, and 6 assists per game. Fred VanVleet has been one of the top leaders in assists per game in the NBA right now. I think he's sitting at 4th. The only players that are over him are LaMelo Ball, Tyrese Halliburton, and Trae Young. And I think him and Luka Doncic are tied or near each other. But he's playing terrific basketball for the Rockets right now. He's averaging 16.1 points per game. He's shooting great from the outside from 3. Dillon Brooks has been a great contributor to the defense right now. He's shooting lights up from 3. He's shooting 50, going into last night's game, he was shooting 54% from 3. And then last night he shoots 100%. So you'd think that obviously went up. I don't have updated stat or where I'm looking at these stats, it's not, that doesn't show 3-point percentage, which is very, really weird. But Dillon Brooks is, you talk about, I see a lot of people say stuff about Dillon Brooks doesn't do anything offensively because, although he did have 2 really good games last week, he scored 26 against the Kings. He scored 26 against the Kings and then scored 20 against the Hornets and shot amazing from 3 in those 2 games. That was on Wednesday, not a couple weeks ago, and then last Saturday, a week ago from today. But the way he's contributing to the defense right now has been spectacular to this Rockets team. And he's been also really solid offensively as well. Got off to a great start. Over the last 3 games, he's not been great, but to the point where he's been so good defensively, it doesn't really matter what he does offensively. Jabari Smith Jr. has been pretty good for the Rockets as well, averaging 13 and 7. And right now, this Rockets team, they're in top 10 stats for a lot of the team stats. I mean, offensive and defensive net rating, they're both top 10, and 3-point percentage and 3-point shooting, they're both top 10 in those stats, and they've been great right now as a team, just playing as a team. And Ime Udoka has been great as their coach and their leader, and it's you just see a total difference with this team as how they play basketball as a team and how they're being led by Ime Udoka compared to what they have had in the past with Stephen Silas. It's no disrespect to Stephen Silas, because I believe one day he could be a good, solid head coach. I just think this young team, this maturing team, just was not. He was supposed to be. I think he's supposed to coach a team with vets, and that's why he came to Houston. That's what he was expecting to coach. A team that had James Harden, Russell Westbrook, PJ Tucker, and everybody that Eric Gordon and everybody that was on even DeMarcus Cousins, who was on the Rockets when Stephen Silas joined this team. That's what Stephen Silas was anticipating. I think he knew there was a chance everything could backfire and this team could hit rebuild, but I know now he's in Detroit where they're 2-8, but I think that at one point if Stephen Silas becomes a head coach for a team, I think it's going to be a team that maybe doesn't have contentions for an NBA championship, but has contentions for the playoffs, which over the past 3 seasons when Stephen Silas was the Rockets head coach, the Rockets had no contentions for playoffs. So I think that right now, as of going forward for the Houston Rockets, going into this, rest of the season, I think that right now for the Houston Rockets, I see them being a top 10 seed in the Western Conference. I know right now they're sitting at 5, but the schedule down the road gets hard throughout the rest of November. It really does. Nuggets, here's the next 4 games: Nuggets, Clippers, Lakers, Warriors. Then you have the Grizzlies at home. That should be a win. But then you have the Nuggets, the Mavericks, the Nuggets, the Lakers, and then the Spurs. So, and then you have the Grizzlies twice, but then you have to deal with the Bucks, the Cavs, and the Hawks, and the Mavericks. And then the Pelicans. So, and then the Pacers and the Suns and the 76ers. So, just their November and December stretch is extremely hard. And I think that's going to be the what you're going to get to tell this team is how they last through December. I'm going into January 1st. I want to know what this team is like, and if they can continue to play basketball like this through January 1st, and if they're still a top 10 seed going into the new year in 2024, I believe the Houston Rockets will finish as a top 8 seed in the Western Conference. That's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts, and peace out. Go Rockets.